Hello and welcome in. It's 1844 as I begin, so divine timing. I said in my last video that I'm getting these messages and they're coming through as images, and this is the one I began with, which is the desert and the stone. If you're interested, the other video with the information that came through to me about this is in that video. And the card that I made for the next image that came through is all about when you awaken to the magic of reality, or the magic seemingly behind reality. And I've just realized I mentioned an angel number as I began this message, and it's those sorts of things that the time 1844 would have rolled around once a day for all of my life. And it's only once I awakened that I noticed that there was something in the numbers, and especially the fact that at any point along my journey, I will see specific numbers, and those numbers, some of them stay with me and some of them they change depending on what's happening for me spiritually on my path at that time. And this will resonate for you if you are in this journey and you are noticing numbers. And I think in the beginning, the fact that you're noticing the numbers, it's exciting in the beginning. And then after a while, if you haven't found a way to allocate or notice in the moment that you're seeing the numbers and allocate a meaning to them for yourself, they can become overwhelming. They can become confusing, and they can become a source of, you may start to feel like, am I losing it? It can, because you may be the only person in your sphere, in your friend group, in your family whānau, that's noticing these numbers. And part of you will want to excitedly tell everyone, and maybe you did initially. But if your experience is like mine, you will find quite quickly people just will give you the side eye. And that's not any judgment on anyone, because it wasn't so very long ago, before I awakened, that I too couldn't see the magic in it. I just didn't get it. I wouldn't have got it. Not that anyone brought it to me before I awakened, but I feel that the excitement comes from the awakening. It's part of it. Me pointing out the numbers to someone who hasn't awakened, the magic is not, I believe, going to be there. So with that in mind, and it's the pulling back of the purple veil of reality that reveals the numbers. It reveals the magic, and it's not just numbers, it's all sorts of signs and synchronicities. For me in particular, a lot of my signs and synchronicities initially I attributed to the person with whom I'm on a twin flame path. But I found out it took me a while actually. I was going to say I found out quite quickly. I was quite slow to the realization is not quite true either, because there's one particular reader who I watched and quite incessantly, and she would frequently say, assign your signs to you. They're for you. they're not about the face that you've put on your journey. They're not about that person you're waiting for. They're not about that obsessive thinking. And when you attribute your signs to another, it creates or affirms that obsessive thought pattern, which actually can keep you stuck and stagnant and stop you from progressing on your journey. Now, I've said a few times, I am just starting out on this path for real, but I have been awakened for a few years now, and it's because I put a face out, an external other who's a part of me, but the twin as the connection or the reason for these signs. This will be making sense if it makes sense. If you know, you know. So the oracle that I created then is, hopefully you can see that, it came to me as a heavy door with a purple velvet curtain that's being pulled back to reveal, and I did use numbers to reveal the divine light and the magic of reality shining in. And part of me like thought of the cave, you know, the whose cave was it? It's a philosopher's cave. Was it Plato? And there's one person, everyone in the community living in the cave, they're happy with their existence in the cave, and they think they're in utopia, and they stare at the wall in the cave, and then one person decides to leave the cave and realizes that the cave is not the universe. The cave is not all there is, that there is magic just beyond the cave's entrance. And I think he rushes back in to tell everyone, and no one else follows him out. And it's kind of reflecting what I've just been saying about, you can point out the magic to people who aren't awakened, but if they're not ready, they're not ready. And when they're ready, divine timing, it will come to them. And it may not come to them this lifetime. And that's part of the magic. It's part of the journey. But I think that for me, a big part of my journey, and it's the part that I've been most reticent to begin, is talking about what I have come to see, to know, to feel, to experience, the magic, the true magic that exists beyond the veil. And if you're experiencing that magic, and I know you are if you're here, welcome. And I would love to hear your experiences in the comments. So I'll see you in the next video, and let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the cards. Hopefully they're resonating. See you in the next one.